Hi everyone, this is Matt Arkido. For my capstone, for my first capstone, I chose to work on the electric vehicle population data from catalog. The reason is that because I like cars. When I started exploring the data, I found that any data before 2010, so basically from 2000 to 2010, all the data are rare. So there's maybe like 2,000 cars only sold in that period. So there's nothing much to see there. And still also the electric concept between hybrid and plug-in did not exist back then. And then from 2021 to 2024, for some reason, the data set has a lot of zeros when they are talking about the range for those cars. So it's not usable. In other words, when I try to do the mean, the average of electric range for the cars between 2021 and 2024, I'm getting almost nothing. And that's because the range has not been populated well in the database. So I choose just to go from 2010 to 2020 because it's a crisp image on how the market was doing. For my objectives, I'm gonna do a few graphs. Each graph will explain how the market was reacting to the electric vehicles. Um, Basically, so I spoke about the data set. This is the source, the description of it, and then what we did, I did some cleaning and some processing. As I said, I dropped certain years, and for visualization, I used those libraries. So the first graph talk about sales trends by electric vehicle types. You can see that the blue line says battery electric vehicles. It started improving and inclining since 2010 all the way to 2020. For the plug-in hybrid electric vehicles, they also did okay. And now you can see they are kind of declining between 2018 to 2019 and stabilize around 2022. For the market share of manufacturers, you can see from 2010 there was only Tesla was in the market, no one else. From 2011, Nissan Leaf was the one that kind of took all the market share. 2020, we have Toyota came back to the game. And then all the way you can see here how Tesla kind of like it's the major manufacturer of electric vehicles, um, whether they are plugged in or electric. Tesla has had the highest share. What's really interesting from this graph is that since the data shows the location of all the registered owners, you can tell where those people live, where those cars are staying. In other words, the lightest color tells you that this is the highest in density for all the EV owners. Black colors tells you it's the least amount of um, EV car owners. So yeah, we can see a cluster, just like almost all data sets. There's always a cluster. This is the cluster we're looking for, and ideally, I wanted to check if a neighbor bought a car. Well, that mean also the surrounding neighbor will buy a car, but we don't have the dates of purchasing those vehicles. If the date were included, we can simply say, yes, there's a correlation between if a neighbor buys a car, maybe the rest of the neighborhood is gonna move on and buy a car. Also, we can explain what's happening here because maybe here they have a lot of good charging stations, right? They have the infrastructure for it, so everyone can easily buy a car, while the rest of the places, like this place here, probably they don't have good enough charging stations. So only few people opted to buy electric car. Here, I'm going to show you the average electric range by type and year. You can see that it has improved over the years. This year, 2010, was high because Tesla was the only one. So this is not a good standard to compare. But 2011, where multiple brands entered the market, you can see how all of them are improving in mileage wise. For the plug-in hybrid, yes, there is some fluctuation, but it's kind of stabilizing. Lastly, what's very important, since EV cars are very expensive, You can see how almost electric cars, people who bought electric cars from 2010 to 2012 took advantage of subsidies and rebates. So what's also called a CAVF, sorry, FV eligibility. That was highly available for battery electric vehicles, but not all of them, but not all plug-in hybrid vehicles had this subsidy. And last graph, I'm gonna show also the models that has been sold. You can see in the last year, the most car was sold was Model Y, probably because of its safety. Model X, and for the green one, you can see the i3. Sorry, this is the Model 3. Sorry, I'm confused myself. Yes, so a lot of them are Teslas, and some Bolt EV, which is Chevy. Here's a snapshot of my code. Thank you all for listening.